Who? And you see, here Elijah the prophet was facing all of Israel. And he cried out that question of questions, how long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. If Baal, follow him. You can't have it both ways. Remember back in the Garden of Eden, what did the devil tell Eve? You can have it both ways. You can know both good and evil. You can have good and evil in your life. You can have them together. You can balance it out with some kind of a yin-yang. You can have it both ways. Jesus said, no man can serve two masters. For either he'll love the one and hate the other, or hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot, C-A-N-N-O-T, ye cannot serve God and mammon. And mammon was another word used in that story of Remus and Romulus. You know, when Rome was founded, the she-wolf and so forth, and everyone is to draw milk from the mammon of Rome. Right? That's the concept. You cannot serve God and mammon. How long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. If Baal, go ahead and follow him. But you can't have both. Isn't that exciting? Narrows it down, doesn't it? And so then came the big contest, and we know the story quite well. The prophets of Baal were unsuccessful. They couldn't get the sun god to answer by fire. That shouldn't have been a big problem, right? But he couldn't do it. God wouldn't let that happen. And finally they got desperate, and they took lances and stuck themselves in their arteries till the blood gushed out, trying to attract Baal's attention. Nowadays, what do we have? People scarring themselves, punching holes in themselves, tattooing themselves. Why? To get the attention of Baal. It won't be any problem for them to go and receive a mark in their right hand or forehead, would it? Not after going through all of that. Come on, you've seen some of these. I'll tell you, not all the monkeys are in the zoo. I mean, you've seen some of these guys running around out there, haven't you? Green hair with all spiked out and dog collars with big chrome studs and a white face with black lipstick and running around like they're, well, hell has been raised. Why? What are they doing? Satan has redecorated them. He's going to live in them. He wants to get it just like when you get a new apartment, right? You repaint it, you get it just the way you want it. Satan moves into that body. Hey, I want to redesign that thing so I'm comfortable here. See? And these evil spirits want to be comfortable in that vessel they're occupying. So they redecorate their apartment. Their human apartment. That's what you're seeing. So it's not going to be any big problem for, you see all kinds of people with tattoos all over the place. Hey, mark of the beast? Yeah. Works like magic. Don't have to log into my computer anymore. I just sit there and it knows me. I walk up to the door, it opens for me. I drive in the driveway, the door unlocks, my microwave turns on, my dinner's cooked. It's got water running in the bathtub for me. You think this is far-fetched? They've done it already. Go to the supermarket and buy all my groceries. I just walk out with a card. I don't go through the checkout. Records everything, takes it on my bank account. I'm free, free, free. Don't have to carry a wallet. Don't have to carry a credit card. Nothing. Woo! Yeah. Then what? They've got you. They have got you. They got you on the end of that rope. You're on their needle. You're stuck. No pun intended. That's the way it is. But see, in Israel, they could not, these prophets of Baal couldn't get the cooperation of their sun god. Notice they didn't try for the moon goddess. The moon goddess wouldn't send fire. It had to be the sun god. But they couldn't get it. They threw themselves on the altar, offering themselves as a human sacrifice. Still couldn't get any results. And so Elijah's standing there watching the whole thing. He says, what's wrong? Huh? Maybe your God's on a vacation. Maybe he's sleeping. Holler a little louder. Wake him up. Right? He was chiding with them. No results. Elijah built his altar. He took one stone for every one of the 12 tribes of Israel. He took a stone and laid it in place and said, Reuben, another one, Simeon, another one, Levi, another one, Judah, and on down the line, reminding them of the faith of their fathers. Try to remember where you came from. Try to remember you came out of Egypt, and remember who brought you out of there. It wasn't the sun God. It was the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Reference back, people. Remember where you came from. Remember your roots. Remember the faith that they had. And so he built that altar, and he called upon the name of the Lord, and the fire of God came down and consumed the sacrifice and the wood. He poured water all over it, had a trench around it. It licked up the dust. There was nothing left when the fire of God came down. And the people began to shout, the Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God. What did he do there? He turned the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the children to the fathers. He referenced back. He showed those children who their fathers were. He brought their hearts together again onto the very roots and the rudimentary faith and the foundation that was laid by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then they cried out. Then they saw the truth once again. The veil was rolled back. They could see clearly. And they began to shout unto the Lord with a voice of triumph as the fire of God came down from heaven. And I'll tell you where we're at right now. We're on Mount Carmel waiting for the fire of God to come down. That's where we are. And we need to shout unto God with that triumphant voice and forsake the idols of this world. I'll tell you what, when I look at this, I've seen too much in this world. I've seen way, way too much. I don't give one smidgen of allegiance to anything. I bow to nothing but God. Amen. I have no respect whatsoever for this system of governance that we now have. When I see what they're doing, listen to what their dictates are. Listen, any president who will pick a woman and put her in the Just Us department, who says that a woman having to carry a baby is putting herself under slave labor to the fetus, and therefore that's in violation of the 13th Amendment, which forbids slavery. Therefore she's entitled to an abortion at any stage. Anybody who is that rotten to the core doesn't deserve 1 ounce of respect. That's the problem. We keep hearing of these outrageous things. Hey, I don't think it's a coincidence that Obama was down in Mexico shaking the hand of that Mexican who welcomed him there to the government, and then that Mexican dropped dead. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's a sign. We are in quite a situation here in these final days. And those people begin to cry out as their hearts were turned back to God. Elijah had every one of those 950 prophets that ate at Jezebel's table. She must have had one big table. No, that's an expression. I don't mean to upset anybody here, but it literally means that she was intimate with every one of those guys. What a capacity for lust. When it says they ate at her table, that's what that's referring to. She was a spiritual woman. Right? Oh, yes. But not of God. This was demonic activity. It wasn't, Eve was not the only one who went to that tree. There's a lot of women went back for another bite.